Going back to the topic of the events of 2020, I'm still not quite clear about all of that happened. And what was the intention behind it? What did you intend from your perspective? Because as I understand it, and I insist, correct me if I've misinterpreted something or if I'm wrong. All of that had a positive purpose at the end of the day. But a lot of people have suffered extremely negative consequences. There's something in everything you just explained that I can't quite grasp. I'm not sure if you understand or get what I'm saying.
What you're trying to tell me is, how is it possible for there to be a positive purpose when there have been people left with physical after effects because of,
Yes, they're now multimillionaires. People have become multimillionaires.
Yes, they've become multimillionaires.
So much pain, suffering, and deception. Many haven't even had the chance to say goodbye to their
Relatives.
deceased parents. I mean, I understand the concept because I've experienced it myself, that it had a positive side. For those who were able to see behind the lie, but not that the ultimate purpose of that deception was positive. That's where I got lost.
Yes, there's a very interesting concept here, and it's that deception is the fundamental weapon of Satan. He works through deception. Remember that. In the Christian Gospels, for example, a very famous passage is when Satan tries to tempt Jesus in the desert and offers him a lot of things. Do you remember the passage about owning the world? No? Okay.
Yes.
What's happening? Those who sold themselves for a bowl of lentils, they enter a dynamic that is legitimate, that is perfectly feasible, and it's a path that is neither better nor worse in terms of spiritual growth. Obviously, it leads them to have to reincarnate again. Those who left this world, or if they still haven't learned the lesson specifically, this lesson will lead them to come back to this world again. But those who, let's say, chose another path of resistance, of not believing in the official narrative, and above all, very importantly, that an internal process of self-examination was encouraged in them, for me, that's fundamental. That's its purpose. This group of people are the ones who are called to be the beacon of humanity. That is, in Hebrew, it's called Or Lagoyim. Light for the nations, thank you. What does light for the nations mean? To be the example, to be the motivation, and to be the strength that many people need to move forward in daily life, supporting each other, because many times daily life is not easy and you need support. And the events of 2020 they were not positive events. But since creation itself is affirmative, it's a creation, it's an affirmation. Therefore, in the end, if you don't accept what the Creator presents to you, the Creator's accounting, if you doubt the Creator's accounting, you're lost. Accept what the Creator presents to you. Integrate with it to help you accept your shadows, fears, insecurities, and indecisions. It's not an easy process, it's a painful process, but it's a process that takes you to a spectacular level of spiritual transformation on a personal level. If many people do this personally, we achieve Tikkun Olam, the world's global rectification. We need that collapse, and that collapse has come because it's necessary to end the movie on one level and move on to another level. We are already moving to another level. We are moving to the level of the cosmic Shabbat, where consciousness is of another quality, it's of another dimension, it's of another color. Events are seen in a different way. Your wisdom invites you to interpret events in a different way. Where you once saw darkness, you may now see a hint of light, since darkness isn't absolute and light isn't either. So in the dual world, everything has a bit of everything. There's an interesting analogy. In the human body, everyone has both female and male hormones, regardless of gender. And what is above is below. I mean, we have analogies in every field of matter. Kabbalah calls the physical world Malchut. So first, accept. Second, be grateful for the lesson. And third, make decisions accordingly. And here is the part that, for me, is fundamental. When you have already integrated that, when you have already gone through that process of pain, now you have to decide what to do, because you have to decide again. Going back to the events of 2020, some people decided one thing, others decided another, some decided not to wear a mask, others decided to wear a mask. Some decided not to get vaccinated, others decided to get vaccinated under threats of being fired, under all kinds of threats, under the threat and sometimes even the real consequence of being ostracized even by their own family.
Yes.
But they had to make a decision.
Right?
And that's the point where the transformation happens. It's a tough moment.
And there are no right or wrong decisions. There are no positive or negative decisions. There's no absolute good or bad. That's the point. I, as a Catholic, do believe that there is good and there is evil, and good and evil are not determined by the outcomes of certain actions. It's absolute.
There is no absolute good or evil in this dual physical plane, since it's dual in nature. Absolute good exists, but only on higher planes beyond our understanding. Absolute good exists, but not in this plane. In this plane, we can attract that absolute good, or part of that absolute good, through ourselves, or channel it, so to speak. And absolute evil also exists, but not in this plane, for the simple reason that by definition, this plane is dual. Nothing is truly absolute in good or evil. That which observes. I had a teacher who always told me that when I said I wanted to do good for someone and explained why I wanted to do good for that person, he would say, "Yes, but that's your good, right? Maybe that's not what's good for him, you know?"
I understand.
This leads to the relativity of duality, which is interesting since each soul has its own path and choices. We must respect each soul's destiny, even if it hurts us. Even if it hurts, we must respect each soul's destiny and not interfere. For example, with a podcast, you broadcast and people choose to watch or not. You're not forcing anyone to watch, not threatening them, yet many still choose to watch you.
That's right.
But it's a process of personal choice and reflection. They're interested in what you can offer, but you don't force them, you don't impose, and if they don't like it, they change the channel. Thanks to this, in the end, it's a very deep, very powerful internal process. It shakes you and turns you upside down 300 times. And well, even though it might seem a bit masochistic, it's also part of the charm of this world, because the charm of this world is that we are here. During an off-camera training, we were talking with the sound crew. I don't know if you remember. The Hebrew word amen means so be it and originates from amen. They are 3 Hebrew letters, which is a root that forms words. And the words that are formed from the word amen are emunah, which means faith. That is, when you have total and absolute emunah here in this world, faith, then you say amen, so be it. And it is decreed. And also from the same root comes the word imun, training. It's interesting, the root asks if one of Aleph, Mem, Nun are the 3 letters of Amen. Is that root also used in words like emunah, faith, or imun? Training, have faith, you're in training. Even if you don't believe it, even if you lost your memory when you came here, have faith that what you're doing is training. Accept reality, then decide. Focus on personal transformation and responsibility. Don't try to proselytize or change others. Whoever wants to listen to you will do so naturally. And they will come, and believe me, they do listen to you. A lot of people listen to you. But that's the positive thing, because that's the difference between authoritas and potestas. There are 2 concepts. Authoritas comes from your example, your inner energy, your strength, and people will listen to you. Potestas is because you have material power, whether it's economic or the power to impose things. They're 2 different concepts. So authoritas is much more interesting because it comes from your center and from your conviction, from your internal coherence. Without the intention to convince, without the intention to please, without the intention to be accepted. You don't need anyone to validate you from the outside. You need to validate yourself in connection with the Creator. Always.
I find those 2 concepts of authority and protest incredible.